right now on 5 on your side at 10.
De-escalating gun violence in St. Louis. After a violent start to the weekend, how public safety advocates are bringing their efforts directly to those impacted.
There's nowhere we can't go to bring people together and to create a safe space.
Tonight, desperately needed humanitarian aid is now crossing into the Gaza Strip as Israel prepares for its next step in its war with Hamas. But first tonight,
temperatures soaring above average thanks to the wind and dry air. Why temps got close to 80 today and why I don't think we're done with the 80-degree temperatures in our extended forecast.
thank you for joining us. I'm Robert Townsend. Brent Solomon is off tonight. A red flag warning has expired, but strong winds still continue to blow all across the bi-state area. Meteorologist Gary Frank joining us now with our weather first forecast. So Gary, will we see more of the same as we get into Sunday?
No, our winds are going to calm down. They're already working their way into that, and it's not affecting the pitch too much here at City Park as things still pretty active there as they working their way to a comeback. We'll have more on that, of course, later on. But, you know, right now you can see the big picture, clouds and rain off to the northeast. As this system has exited and we're working our way into high pressure, we're kind of in the middle of those two systems, and that's what kind of was responsible for our wind picking up. Temperature-wise, though, we haven't fallen all that much. Mid to upper 50s, low 60s in the city. There is cooler air to the north. That will start to settle in a little bit as it helps us drop later on tonight. Our wind speeds are much, much lighter. They are under 10 miles an hour. As a result, they're going to stay calmer overnight. I think we're going to see calmer conditions for at least a day. You know, we've got more wind on the way into early next week. We're going to drop in the mid-40s in the city. A north breeze at 5 to 15 miles an hour is what we'll look at, but I do have more breezy conditions and temperatures in the 80s. As mentioned, it is going to be hot still again this week. What that means for our rain chances as well and when it really looks like it's going to be fall.
Gun violence continues to plague the St. Louis area. Tonight, a 15-year-old is recovering after he was grazed by a bullet overnight. 5 on your side's Diamond Palmer explains what community advocates are doing monthly to help those affected by violent crimes.
Overnight, a 15-year-old boy on Gustav Avenue became the latest victim of gun violence, a bullet grazing him on the right hip.
This all happening on the same weekend that the Office of Violence Prevention is hosting their monthly community kickback. The organizers say they want to see more schools and more businesses involved in decreasing the violence in our city.
We could probably bring some state resources here. Really, it's about going to these communities and finding out what they need and making sure those people show up.
There's hope for our city. That's the message the Office of Violence Prevention in St. Louis spreads monthly. Director Wilford Pinkney and his team at OVP say it's all about meeting people where they're at. On Saturday, the Public Safety Agency came out to Beckett Park in the Lewis Place neighborhood. OVP targets young people with their events and resources for gun safety, housing, and even veterans. It's all a one-stop shop. He says nearly 100 people attend the events each month, with half of them being young people. Pinkney says seeing gun violence affect young people makes his team want to do one thing.
We need to keep working harder, that we need to make sure people in those communities, the victims of those incidents, whether they're directly affected or whether they're tangentially affected, know that there's a place that they can go to get help.
OVP says their message is simple.
There's hope. There's people working to really walk with people and to comfort them and to give them what they need and to help build them up. And I think that's the main message.
Diamond Palmer, 5 on your side.
The next community kickback will be hosted on November 18th at the O'Fallon Park Rec Center. Now, attendees will receive a free Thanksgiving turkey. Tonight, 3 people are recovering after they were shot just south of downtown. Police say there was a large gathering last night at 3rd and Gratiot. At some point, one of the victims got into an argument over cigarettes. Investigators say when another victim tried to intervene, someone started shooting. All 3 victims were taken to the hospital with minor injuries. Police have not identified any suspects as of tonight. More violence in the city of St. Louis. Right now, police are investigating a woman's death in South City. Officers responding to a shooting on Lindenwood Avenue near Hereford Street just after 11 o'clock this morning. Now, they found the victim, a 40-year-old woman with a gunshot wound. No suspects have been named at this time. In St. Louis County, police are investigating a deadly shooting in Velda City. Officers responded to Glenmore Avenue around 5:30 last night. They found a male victim lying dead in the street. Police say the victim and suspect got into a fight before the shooting. Anyone with any information is asked to call St. Louis County Police. Another fight led to a man's death in Wentzville. Police there responding to a shooting on Evergreen Drive just before 8 last night. Now, the victim had been shot multiple times. He was taken to a hospital where he died. Police arrested the suspect. Police say both got into an argument before the shooting. No charges have been filed as of yet. Now to the ongoing conflict in Israel. Tonight, humanitarian aid successfully passed through the Rafah border crossing into Gaza. 20 trucks crossed into the Strip through the previously bombed border crossing, bringing a lifeline to the nearly 2 million trapped there. They carried medical and food supplies, much needed by the Palestinians. Some say they have to dodge explosions in the streets just to get to basic supplies.
I have to go to 6, 7, 8 different markets at times under shelling and during airstrikes to try to secure milk.
Shortages are going to kill many, many people. It's absolutely life or death at this point.
According to the UN, more than 1.4 billion people have been displaced in Gaza due to the Israel's war with Hamas. Right now, hundreds of Israeli military vehicles are gathering near the Gaza border. This comes ahead of an anticipated ground invasion into this area. Israel's chief of staff has said their goal is to destroy Hamas, but there is no word yet on when they will officially cross the Gaza border. Tonight, 2 Americans are heading home after being held captive by Hamas for nearly 2 weeks. Judith and Natalie Renan were released yesterday. The Illinois residents received a call from President Biden thanking him for his services for Israel. Natalie's father says he looks forward to seeing his daughter home after many sleepless nights.
And hopefully I'm going to see them next week. Next week is Natalie's birthday on the 24th. And we're going to celebrate her birthday here in my home.
But while one family breathes a sigh of relief, there are nearly 200 more still holding their breath. This includes the families of 10 Americans also held hostage by Hamas. You can follow all the latest news on the Israel-Hamas war and find ways to support those impacted by texting the word Israel to 314-425-5355. An exhibit at the St. Louis Kaplan Feldman Holocaust Museum is opening up discussion on some tough issues. The Impact Lab is an interactive education experience that explores how hatred manifests and how we can respond and inspire change. Now, officials with the Holocaust Museum point to the ongoing conflict in Israel as one of those tough conversations for many people.
It's a space for us to engage in difficulty, engage in talking about really difficult issues. You know, we've gotten a lot of phone calls from parents and teachers asking us, how do we talk about this? How do we talk about what's going on with our kids? And the Impact Lab is really the answer to that. You can experience the Impact Lab yourself. Public sessions are available on Saturdays at 2 o'clock at the Holocaust Museum.
Happy Halloween! The St. Louis Fire Department inviting the community for its annual Halloween event. Why, it's more than just candy and costumes for firefighters. Painting St. Louis purple, domestic violence advocates come together to empower survivors.
We need to let them know there is help. They're not alone.
Peak wind speeds in excess of 30 miles an hour today, and that's going to calm down, but I think we'll see it again later on, what that means for us over the next few days, and if we'll see a return to fall-like feeling air.
Tonight, the party continues for City SC. The team is celebrating the end of their inaugural regular season all weekend long. Now, festivities included local band Hazmat performing at the Lou Fuse Plaza, games, and a lot more. All this came before the 8 p.m. kickoff to their final regular season match against Seattle tonight. The party continues from 1 to 3. They'll find out who wins again tonight. But again, all this food trucks, live music, and a chance to see the players and their head coach. That's in store for fans. We'll have much more on tonight's game later in sports. The St. Louis Fire Department wants to make sure kids are having a safe Halloween. Today it hosted its annual Halloween festival at the fire department's headquarters on North Jefferson Avenue. It included a trunk or treat, games, crafts, and more. But it's more than just candy and costumes. Fire Chief Dennis Jenkinson says it's all about community connections.
It gives people who are in the community, who are new to the community, a little insight as to what we do besides fighting fire in the city. You know, it gives us an opportunity to share some of the fire prevention tips, smoke detector programs, and all the other programs that we offer through the St. Louis Fire Department.
This is their 7th year hosting that event.
Pretty nice. He's going to have an update on this game, but it's still a little breezy outside in some cases. We'll talk about what the breeze is like tomorrow and when we'll continue to see a warm wind on the way.
October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Today, survivors and their supporters gathered in the Grove to rally against this issue. 5 on your side's Mercedes McKay tells us one local nonprofit wants to paint the loop purple all month long.
Survivors and supporters painted the Grove purple Saturday morning.
It's important for us to get the word out, because if you don't get the word out, if you stay silent, then you'll stay in it.
A feeling Deborah Williams is all too familiar with.
Your abuser will make you think you need to stay silent. Your abuser will make you ashamed to say anything. Don't be ashamed.
That's why Williams is now helping survivors take that first step through the Diamond Diva Empowerment Foundation. The nonprofit's mission is to help those who've experienced domestic violence.
We need to make people aware. It is very prevalent.
There were 26 resource tents at Saturday's event to show the community that there are so many organizations across the city that help survivors every single day.
We need to let them know there is help. They're not alone. There are resources for them, and we all are here to help them.
One of the many purple tents belonged to the Women's Safe House, which is the oldest and largest domestic violence shelter in the St. Louis region.
We have housing for up to 60 women and children who are victims of domestic violence, sexual violence.
For one vendor, the rally and walk was personal.
I myself am a survivor.
As founder of Naturally Created for You, Danielle Wilcox says every face cleanser and mask holds a deeper meaning.
I wanted to find something that, I could, be able to share my testimony, but also impact women and families.
That's why part of Wilcox's profits goes back to Diamond Diva, so they can keep empowering this community of survivors.
Let people know that this isn't something to be embarrassed about. This isn't your fault. It wasn't my fault, and it's not their fault either.
In St. Louis, Mercedes McKay, 5 on your side.
October is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and SSM Health partnered with other local organizations for the annual Mammogram-a-thon. The event was held at DePaul Hospital this afternoon in Bridgeton. Registered attendees were able to come in and get their screenings done before a little breakfast or lunch. Organizers say people were popping in like popcorn to get tested. They say early detection is essential.
Women 40 and older should have definitely every year without fail. If you have family history, then it can be younger. It's usually like 5 years from what the last person in your family may have had the breast cancer. So it's very important, and if it's in your family history, then you may want to get some genetic testing.
The annual event has been going on for 10 years now. Gary Frank is here now with a look at weather. Gary, the forecast is calling for more 70s and maybe even 80s, huh?
Yeah, we're warming up still. For now, right now, we're looking at the wind not as busy as it was earlier. You can tell by looking at Kirkwood, our community camp here. The wind not blowing quite as much. And here's where we got to 80 degrees today. You can see that warm air off to the south, 80 to 85, 70s to the north. Pretty warm overall, though. And even as we look down Market Street, it's still mild for this time of the night because we should be in the afternoon, 67 degrees. We're still at 60 here at 10:15, 10:20. So a west-northwest breeze at only 5 miles an hour. What a big difference that makes. Wind speeds right now, much much lighter. I think overall it should be that way for the most part the rest of the evening and tomorrow. So I'm looking ahead as things calm down tonight. We're in the mid-40s overall. Low 40s outside of the city. It'll be cooler than it was this morning as a whole, but I think that as we look at tomorrow's wind speed, it's going to be much lighter. We're going to pick that back up maybe Monday into Tuesday as well, but much, much lighter. We're talking about 5 to 10 miles an hour tomorrow versus the stuff that we had today with gusts of 30. So we're going to avoid that for now. Tomorrow, though, temperatures starting off in the mid-40s. We're in the low to mid-50s, mid-60s, very pleasant, pretty close to normal. Definitely cooler than it was today. So just be prepared for that. I don't think we'll have to deal with the red flag warning. I do want to look at our next tropical system, believe it or not. And this is the one that's affecting Cabo at the moment. It doesn't look like much because it hasn't gotten to where any of the radar sites that are picking up. So it does have quite a bit of moisture associated with it. But overall, the next couple of days, we're going to watch the remnants of this system work our way into Texas and bring some moisture. And that's going to be, when do we see that moisture turn into opportunities for rain? I think as that system drifts in on Tuesday, you'll see the general flow out of the southwest. It'll give us an opportunity for rain. Then we're going to be kind of split between cooler air to the north and right on the warmer side of things. And I think we'll stay on the warmer side of things. So as we're kind of in between that frontal boundary, we'll see periods of showers and storms. Not Monday, but Tuesday and Wednesday, especially Thursday, we'll see that opportunity for some rain. That is positive news as we see repeated opportunities. I don't see any day that's going to rain all day, but as the clash of the seasons really work their way in, Wednesday warming back up, depending on how much rain we get, I still see the opportunity for temperatures over 80 degrees, but you'll notice how cool things get. They hold kind of steady depending on how far north that warm air gets, but watch this cold stuff. That's when it's going to drop. Heading into Halloween, I expect the next few days are going to be quite a roller coaster, as you would expect at fall. 60s, 70s, and 80s, even with opportunities for rain, clear skies in the afternoon, and then much cooler heading into the holiday. And that looks to be our first freeze, and hard freeze for some of us.
All right, Gary, thanks a lot. We'll check back with you in a few minutes. Coming up in sports, the Mizzou Tigers put on a homecoming show in Columbia. The reward they got after today's win is just ahead.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
City SC wanted to cap off the most successful debut season in MLS history with a win. At worst, they wanted to play sharp as they head to the playoffs, but the Seattle Sounders had other ideas tonight at City Park. The City Reds had a great chance in the early minutes. Off the corner kick, the ball will leak out to a wide open Klaus, but he fires it over the goal. He knows that was a golden opportunity. The Sounders scored in the 23rd minute, and then later, watch as the pass goes off Tim Parker and past Roman Berkey to make it to 2-0 at the half. And Seattle wins it by that 2-0 score. The Missouri Tigers were on a mission today, beat South Carolina, and after 12 straight weeks of football, enjoy a big bye week. So what if their next game will be against #1 Georgia? That's coming up in 2 weeks. First things first. The Tigers came out in a hurry first quarter. It's Brady Cook feathering the pass to Luther Burden for the score. Luther got the ball right across the goal line before his knee touched down. Mizzou leads 7-0. Second quarter now, Cook will get into the action. He takes it up the middle, and he is in. Mizzou led it 24-3 at the half. It was a 2-score game in the fourth quarter. Mizzou needing a strong finish. Third down, and Cook will loft the pass for Burden, and Luther makes a great catch. Look at that. Victory is in sight. Cody Schrader caps the drive with his second touchdown of the game, and Mizzou wins 34-12. It's the 700th win in program history.
Early in the year, we had a lot of pressure, probably self-infused pressure of trying to be something, and now I think we just are embracing who we are and trying to get better each week, and I don't think there's really the expectation or pressure that we've let put on us. We're just going out there playing free. And then we got a lot of games left, and we've set up a November to remember.
Homecoming in Champaign for the Fighting Illini taking on Wisconsin. It was all Illini for much of the game. Freshman Caden Fagan will sweep the right side, and he gets it in for the score. Illini led it 21-7, but Wisconsin outscored the Illini 18-0 in the fourth quarter. This pass by Braden Locke put the Badgers at the Illini 5. 3 plays later, look at this. Locke will find Nolan Rucci on the tackle eligible play, and that's the game winner as Wisconsin wins it 25-21. Former Blue Alexander Steen was in the building to watch the Blues play the Pittsburgh Penguins. First period, there's a crowd in front, but Brandon Saad will shoot and score to give the Blues their first lead in regulation this season. With the game tied at 1, the sequence was the difference. Jake Neighbors will make some nice moves you see there and then get the goal, put the Blues ahead. And then less than 2 minutes later, Colton Parayko will score on the slap shot. As the Blues win, you see 4-2. Phillies and Diamondbacks Game 5 of the National League Championship Series. This is Kyle Schwarber connecting for a deep drive, and that one is long gone. Schwarber's 5th home run of the postseason gives the Phillies a 3-0 lead. 2 batters later, look at this. It's Bryce Harper, and he may have sent this one further out. Another long home run. Harper also stole home in this game as the Phillies go up 3-2 and can wrap it up at home on Tuesday. Final score there was 6-1. Gary's here now with a final look at weather.
Yeah, we're in pretty good shape here and heading into the overnight hours. Once again, it's going to drop off. It'll be a little cooler tomorrow. Less wind, so we may not notice it a ton that it's that cooler, but we'll still see that warming trend continue as we head into the next few days. Back into the 70s and 80s, above average. I mean, our average high should be 67 degrees. You see it there. Monday, Tuesday, that's when it's going to be really cool heading into the end of the month as we finish that, work our way into November.
I'm loving these 70s. That's all our time for 5 on your side at 10. We'll see you on Saturday Night Live.